Hi, I'm Pav.
And I'm Neil.
And welcome to the Top 10 of Anything podcast.
Let's start the countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There was a time, kids, when a foreign import in the top league of football meant someone had signed a left back from Real. Then you had the likes of Alan Simonson joining Charlton, Mirandinha at Newcastle, and of course our Delays and Villa at Spurs. With the birth of the Premier League and the money involved, stars from all over the football world have ventured to our shores to dazzle us with their skills. Now Premier League squads are bursting with foreign talent. Here's Fact Hunter Neil with top 10 Premier League foreign import facts.
Yes, thank you very much, Pav. So what I thought I'd look at this time is who or what was the most expensive transfer from the foreign imports in the Premier League. And we'll start at number 10 with Cancelo at 58 million from Juventus to Man City in the 19 to 20 season. And then at number 9, we have Morata at 59 million from Real Madrid to Chelsea, 17 and 18 season. At number 8, Ruben Diaz at 61 million from Benfica to Man City in the 2021 season. And I will say now, forgive me if I get any of these pronunciations wrong, but we got Angel Di Maria at 67 million from Real Madrid to Man United in 14 to 15 season. And then at number 6, Kevin De Bruyne at 68 million from Wolfsburg to Man City in the 15 to 16 season. And then at number 5 is Kepa Arrizabalaga, is that right? At 72 million.
Near enough, Neil.
Yeah, 72 million from Athletica to Chelsea in 18-19 season. Then at number 4, we have Nicolas Pepe at 72 million from Lille to Arsenal in the 19 to 20 season.
Golazo, golazo, golazo!
And then at number 3, we have Kai Havertz at 73 million from Bayern Leverkusen to Chelsea at 2021 season.
Golazo, golazo, golazo!
And then at number 2, we have Paul Pogba at 94.5 million from Juventus to Man United in 16 to 17 season.
Here's one for Ollie.
And then at number 1, we have Romelu Lukaku at 101.3 million from Inter to Chelsea in the 21 to 22 season. So there we have it.
Wait, please. Wait for it. Oh, dear me.
And thank you very much. It's been great talking to you. We'll see you all next week.
Thank you, Neil, for some wonderful...
Thank you very much.
Some wonderful facts there. Pretty much you got the pronunciations right, I think.
I try my hardest.
Although I think, isn't it Angel, not Angel? I mean, no, I'm just saying it's a simple one, but, you know.
I'll take it on the chin.
Not
Jimmy
for the
Hill
first
chin.
time. Okay, we're doing Premier League foreign imports this week, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and we have got 2 experts with us. Will you please welcome Oliver and Harry from Teams of Our Lives? That's right, isn't it? I never wrote it down. Teams of Our Lives podcast. Yeah, there it is. Hello, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, very well. Thank you very much for having us.
It's our pleasure. I'll apologise, Oliver. I didn't know you were a Man United fan. I wouldn't have I wouldn't have played that, would I? If I'd have known that you were a man. I mean, how sick of me would it have been to have played?
Hear it, Pav.
To have played that with you. Not again.
Thank you for the fire exit. Where's the fire exit?
We'll talk a little bit about your podcast a little bit later on, if that's okay.
Yeah, no worries.
Because we are going to crack on with our top 10 as we have 4 top 10s to get through tonight. So, Oliver, would you like to tell us what your number 10 foreign league import is?
Absolutely. So we're going to start off. I've gone very kind of noughties based, as our podcast suggests, as we'll get on to a little bit later on. So my number 10 even is Nemanja Vidic, who joined from Spartak Moscow on Christmas Day 2005, so £7 million. And in my opinion, as a United fan, he took over the kind of hard man role that kind of Roy Keane left behind, who left that season to join Celtic. Made exactly 300 appearances for Man United. And he's the kind of reliable guy you want in the trenches with you.
Well, let me just state as well, anybody that heard our Premier League goal scorers episode, I was talking to Oliver about it. I had this hard fact that there was going to be no Manchester United players in my top 10. I've relaxed that fact because I did feel it was a bit unfair. Never thought I'd say that about Manchester United. But I do feel in regards to foreign imports into the Premier League, you have to have Man United players. So I thought I'd get that out the way, and we've got that caveat. So the one thing about United, and I don't want to praise United ever, but they were very good. They were very good at getting good centre-backs.
Yeah, I think so. Jaap Stam springs to mind as well.
Rio.
Rio. It was a British transfer record at the time when we brought Rio in.
Yeah.
Towards the end, he got a bit calamitousness, if that's a word. It is now.
It is
we've done all right with centre backs. For the last 10 years, don't talk to me. It's why we do our podcast in the noughties, I think. But so Phil Jones, the pink boots.
Which would you rather have though, Phil Jones at his peak, or Harry Maguire?
Well, Phil Jones at his peak was playing for Blackburn Rovers.
That is true.
I think I'd take Harry Maguire purely just for what he's done in the World Cup and the Euros, if nothing else.
Okay, right then, Harry. Where's your allegiance?
So I'm a Portsmouth fan.
Well done. Oh, that sounded very condescending. I'm so sorry.
Give the man a round of applause.
He's the one. Bless him. Okay, so again, is that another reason why the podcast is set in the thousands?
Very much so. That's it. The last time we were, any good, let alone in the Premier League. But yeah, definitely a big reason. My football knowledge sort of ends at the end of the noughties because obviously definitely my Premier League knowledge, because obviously I sort of forgot about that and had to start focusing on lower and lower and lower divisions as time went on. But yeah, so I've gone with a little bit left field for my first pick.
Okay.
So I went for Todorov, my one and only Pompey player, because as a child he was my icon. So I was like, I'm going to sneak him in there and then let Ollie rip into me for that and then move on from there. I had to get a Pompey player in there and I didn't want to do like a big one. So I thought, okay, we'll get Todorov in at number 10.
Right. So you telling me that Kanu isn't in your top 10?
I didn't put Kanu in because
I thought that was...
I figured I was trying to stick with people who moved in the noughties, and I figured that Kanu sort of straddles that line of like late 90s, early noughties. So I thought I'd leave him out, and I do. Yeah, I thought I'd just go for someone that for me was like probably my first experience of like this foreign player playing for my club that whose first name I still struggle with. That's why I haven't said.
Svetsson or something like that.
It's like, oh god, it's like.
Where's he from?
He's from Bulgaria.
Oh, it's Bulgarian. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like Stelislav, but it's like
just
call him Sylvester. It's fine.
Okay, that's fine.
Or as we called him, we just called him Toddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you missed. I'm not having you missed out on having to say Nwankwo. I mean, if there's ever a chance of saying Nwankwo in a podcast, I mean,
is that the official pronunciation? Is it? Just
listen,
that?
You said Angel instead of Angel, so don't you?
Okay,
so that's a very interesting one to start off with. Then Neil, you're number 10.
So I've gone for Paolo Di Canio. just admired him as a player. He was certainly a character on the pitch. As we can all remember, his feeble push of the ref and things like that. And yeah, I thought, well, why not?
One of the funniest moments ever in football.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely. It was a great moment in thing, and he was a class player as well in his day.
Yeah.
I think he was definitely. He was very creative in what he could do and things like that. And even though he, sort of more remembered for West Ham than anywhere else, I think, isn't he?
Yeah.
We won't put that against him. But yeah, he was a great player in the day. So yeah, Paolo Di Canio, we go.
Good choice. He was never got a cap for Italy.
Did he not?
Never got a cap.
Oh, there
That
you
is
go.
crazy.
I didn't know that.
That is
We're going to
crazy.
learn things, aren't we, Pav? We're going to learn.
We are going to learn
And
things.
he also, funnily enough, he pushed the referee over in, I think it was 98 when he was playing for Sheffield Wednesday. And then a couple of years later, he won the BBC Match of the Sports Fair Play of the Year.
That's
I didn't
right.
Because he caught the ball when the goalkeeper was injured.
Oh yeah, I
can't quite
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
That's
it's only him and Gary Lineker have won that.
Yeah, because Harry Redknapp went off his tits because he was so angry that he had a chance
That's
to
right.
score and missed. And it was it Neville Southall? I can't remember. It was the goalie, but yeah. Okay then. Right, my number 10 is Juninho from Middlesbrough. That was one hell of a team. They had I think it was Emerson. I think it was Gaza playing for them at the time. I think maybe
He was
or maybe
briefly
not.
there in the late 90s.
Yeah, because that was Brian. I think Brian Robson was the manager, but they had a hell of a team.
They did.
And Juninho was just one of those Brazilian players you could just watch over and over again. It didn't matter. We had I'll mention it on one of the honourable mentions a little bit later on, but Ravanelli was another one that was there. It was just an exciting. I mean, I don't think they never won anything, did they? But such a great team to watch. It's just so like attacking, but I think they had no defence. That was the reason that they didn't really do anything very well. But what a player! What a player! Okay, Oliver, you're number 9.
Number 9, I've gone a bit more down the middle now. I thought I'd have to chuck in the goalkeeper as a former goalkeeper myself. I say former goalkeeper. I used to play 5-side once a week in goal. But I think this is probably going to go down as the bargain of the century. I've gone for Petr Cech, who is in fact Czech. He was one of the first signings of the Mourinho era and of the Abramovich era. They've always, Chelsea have never really had a decent goalkeeper before then. He signed for £6 million from French club Rennes, and kind of instantly changed the fortunes with Chelsea. Instantly won a league in his first season, the first Chelsea title for close to 50 years, I think it was at the time. And he only lost one game that whole season in the Premier League. And I think he had a crazy statistic where in that first 2 seasons, he had a clean sheet percentage of 68%, I think, which is ridiculous. And that's not been done since, nowhere near close for a keeper his first time in the Premier League. Absolutely insane. He's got, and he's won it all as well, Champions League, FA Cups, Premier Leagues. Shame he went to Arsenal and kind of messed it up for himself. But I think in terms of goalkeepers making an impact, it's him and Schmeichel.
Yeah. I don't think I've got a goalkeeper in my. Oh no, I have. Yeah, I have. Yeah. Okay. I won't say anything else yet about that. So in theory, then for you, he's the best Premier League goalkeeper that there's been, or would you say there's an English goalkeeper that is better than Cech?
That's a good question. Is an English goalkeeper better than Cech?
David James.
No, not David James.
Paul Robinson.
He was called Calamity James for a reason. And
yeah, I'm a Liverpool fan, and I wouldn't say David James.
When he was in the Pompey shirt, there's nothing there.
Really?
To be fair, I really like Jordan Pickford. I think he's got just this attitude and kind of, he can be a calamity, but
yeah,
I don't know. He's got something about him I just quite like, a bit of tenacity.
Okay. Okie dokie. Harry, you're number 9.
So I've gone for someone that would be considered royalty on our podcast, I think, Ollie. And it's a man that moved from Paris Saint-Germain to Bolton Wanderers in the early 2000s, JJ Okocha. Simply just because the memories of just watching JJ and the things he could do, all you see. A little bit like you were saying earlier of Middlesbrough. Like, they had that period of time at Bolton where they just had these random people turning up, like stars like Campo and you just wouldn't believe that now, especially with like where Bolton are. But JJ is one of those early like naughty players that really just, I think, opened the door for that sort of creative style and that sort of foreign player coming over and just being considered to be like an absolute wizard.
Mm. And he didn't really get picked up. I mean, not saying Bolton wasn't a big club at the time, but he didn't get picked up by one of the big clubs after his few seasons of like, I think if there's one player that sort of epitomizes that particular time of the Premier League, I think it is JJ Okocha.
Yeah.
What a player. I mean, what a player.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, like, I suppose you could argue that before Bolton, he was at Fenerbahce and PSG, who obviously aren't giant clubs, but in their respective leagues have always been quite big clubs. So like PSG more recently, I suppose.
Yeah. Good choice. Go on then, Neil. You're number 9.
Gone for another West Ham person, Carlos Tevez. Remember all the hoo-ha that he had when he came? What's that all about, Ollie?
Traitor, absolute traitor. I'll give it to you. He was good for us for 18 months and helped us win the Champions League and the title, but you can't just move to Man City. That's crazy.
Wow. But what a player. I mean, we'd have all liked him in our club, wouldn't we? That's what I always put as a grounding of a great player. Everybody would have snapped him up at the time. But there was all that hoo-ha, wasn't there, when he went to West Ham? And I can't quite. I was trying to read it before.
He was third-party owned, wasn't he?
Yeah,
right.
him and Mascherano from Corinthians, the Brazilian side.
It was just a complete mess. You couldn't just buy him. It had to be sort of. It was an absolute mess.
But he was a great player, wasn't he? No matter which team he went to, and what a goal scorer that you would have wanted in your squad, like I said. So
and he was the sort of guy that was like pressing before pressing was pressing.
Yeah,
as a forward. I mean, he used to run and run and run all the time, and it was like a little like Yorkshire Terrier nipping at your heels.
No, it didn't have a neck, did he? Really?
No. I think that was partly due to a fire.
Yeah.
There you go, Neil. Thanks for bringing that up, mate. I mean, God.
If Carlos is listening to this.
Sorry, Carlos.
I'm just saying, I mean, Sandy Togsby hasn't got a neck, but we don't joke, we still joke about it.
She's 4'2".
Yeah. She might have been in a fire. You don't know, do you? You have no idea. Anyway, right. My number 9 is Gianfranco Zola. If anything, for that one goal where he did that flick from a corner, what a fantastic goal. But he's one of those sort of players, a bit like Juninho, where I could watch him play in slow motion for hours. He's just sublime just watching him play, and his touch was always perfect. And the years that he spent at Chelsea, there wasn't many midfielders better than him. And I sort of like him as a bloke as well. I think he's sort of like, he doesn't ever come over as big-headed, or he just seems very down to earth. Not that much cop as a manager, but there you go. Not many really great players are. I don't even know where he is now, to be honest. Is he
just what I was going to ask? Is he still
I think he's sitting in Lake Como with a nice cup of tea, probably. Not too sure. I always remember when he was West Ham manager, and it still baffles me. He was West Ham manager, and the press were outside his house, and he came out with like a tray of tea and biscuits for them.
See what I mean? What a lovely man.
Exactly. What a lovely man. Yeah.
What a lovely man. He was Watford manager as well, wasn't he? I think.
Watford
but then again,
manager,
65% of the population have been Watford manager with the owners that they've got now.
Did you see that Roy Hodgson? They've done a massive thing on Twitter where it's welcome Roy Hodgson, but it looked like when you get one of those cards when you go to a funeral, it says in loving memory of. That's the way it was kind of framed. Like the Photoshop's kind of glow around it.
Yeah. I mean, they're probably right, to be honest. I mean, he might not last till next Christmas, but
if they go on a losing streak, it might actually be his funeral. Yeah.
It might be. 74 years old. I mean,
he's always a slow starter as well, wherever he goes. It seems a very strange.
What, like the shops and places like that?
There as well. What's a strange person bringing the rescue from relegation?
I mean, look, I'm biased. I'm a Liverpool fan. He nearly ruined our club. So anytime I see Roy Hodgson, that's why I sort of fell out of love with England because he was England manager. Sort of, I find it very hard to I put him almost in the Man United camp of like, you just can't. There's no. If he went with Watford and they won every game for the rest of the season, I wouldn't think he'd be anything special, because I just think I know. And maybe he's one of these guys that feels that he can't retire. If he retires, he would just like, I don't want to tempt fate, but like he'd drop down dead because he's got nothing to do. I feel like David Attenborough's like that. David Attenborough keeps churning out these series because if he stops, he's like a shark, and a shark never stops. Is that right, Neil? The shark never stops. Okay.
Not an expert on sharks. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Neil, our resident shark expert.
Yes.
The one time you had to get a fact about sharks, Neil, and you let me down.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's because I live right by the coast in the centre of the country.
You do. Right then, Ollie, your number 8, please.
Number 8 is one of those names where when I looked back at my sheet, I thought, why did I put that? But then I've kind of in my head came up with a good reason why. So I've gone for another Chelsea striker or Chelsea player, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, because I think he transitioned with the Premier League very, very well, and in that Chelsea team transitioned from having no money at all under Ken Bates to being in that first Abramovich team as well. And wherever he went, he scored goals and scored them really well. He was part of that Leeds squad as well. Done really well. Always finished in top 4 with Mark Viduka, Gary Speed, Alan Smith, and Lucas Radibi. All these great Leeds players. That was the last great Leeds team they had. When that fell to crap, jumped ship with Chelsea. Done very well with them. And what you'll find out in my list as well is that I kind of like players who defer to smaller teams and then bring those teams up with them. So he joined Middlesbrough and became a sensation for Middlesbrough as well. Took them to a League Cup final in 2004 against Bolton Wanderers, which me and Harry obsess over that game because it was like the cult hero World Cup. The amount of like niche obscure players from like Yuri Georgiev to Hasselbank, Zenden, Okocha was in that final as well. He also went to Cardiff in 2008 and played in the Championship. So he never stopped kind of showing up for the little guy, and he's a consistent goal scorer. I absolutely love the man. Never won a trophy.
Never won a trophy.
No.
Yeah, well, he was a strong player as well, wasn't he? He was very hard to knock off the ball, as I remember when I used to play in the Premier League.
Those are the days.
Yeah, go on then, Harry. Your number 8, please.
Yeah, I think I might make Neil happy here. So I've gone with Luka Modric.
Oh, he's my number 3.
You're number 3.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably as low as 8. Sorry, because as a Pompey fan, I'm still a little bit bitter over that time. Tottenham stole half our team, but
that was Harry's fault, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
I mean, let's blame him. But Modric one of those people you just can't help but love, and the fact that he's still doing it now, at Real Madrid, it's just unbelievable, really, the sort of level he plays at, and how can anyone hate that sort of Croatia side from the noughties as well, with beautiful kits and all wonderful players like Kranjčar and who else, but he's just one of those sort of centre midfielders that you just anyone would have in a team and you would just love to watch.
He could change a game, couldn't he? That's the thing I always used to like. He really could change a game. I mean, not always would it come true for him, but he was a solid midfielder that could do most things. I used to love watching him pass. Used to remind me of Jan Molby a little bit. There you go. We'll go back where he had the vision to be able to kick it right up the field and it would land at the other player's feet. And I like that sort of player. Yeah,
it's the way they make those kind of when they ping a pass to a player, they make it look so easy.
Yeah,
and they'll get it in such small areas as well. That they'll going down the line or whatever. I've never how they do that. I mean, obviously it's practice and skill, and like you say, Jan Molby, John Barnes used to do it, and Liverpool again, but Fabinho is very good at doing it as well. Just threading these little passes, not necessarily goal scoring passes or anything, but just these little passes that create a bit of space. I love those kind of players.
Yeah.
That's a great one. So go on then, Neil. You're number 9. You're number 8.
So this is Berbatov, Dimitar Berbatov. When we had him at Tottenham, I really enjoyed him. It became a shame that we became a bit of a feeding club to Man United at that time. And would have, it really was getting a bit of a problem that we seemed to be everybody was going. But you can welcome to some of the players now. You can have Dele Alli or whatever. Come and help yourself. But back then it was a sad day when I saw Berbatov go off. But the money, but he was a great player, stylish, created chances out of nothing. Some wonderful goals when I was watching back at the things that he scored out of nothing was absolutely mesmerizing to watch. But yeah, I found him a great player. He sort of looked like he couldn't be bothered half the time, didn't he?
He was
when
one
he
of
was
those
running
lazy-looking players, wasn't he? Yeah.
Like Letitia kind of style.
Mm.
We don't talk about him.
But yeah, I really admired him. But like I say, it was a shame we fed him on to another club somewhere else, one of those lower league clubs somewhere.
Yeah, I can remember watching Sky Sports News and getting suckered in on that final day. You know, where everyone's wearing yellow ties and stuff, and it was a shot. I think Fergie and Berbatov like walking down a corridor, and it was all windowed so you could see. Yeah, and it was going, "This is it. Yeah, it's finally going to happen." I think it was on the last day. But yeah, he just never looked like he gave a shit, did he?
No.
He didn't give a
the
toss.
Same in interviews as well. He really didn't look like he gave a shit. Probably one of the most relaxed football players you'll ever see.
I've got a lot of affection for Berbatov as well. I like players who are just different. I don't think we see that enough nowadays. Someone who expresses themselves by doing what they want to do on the football pitch. And funnily enough, you mentioned Tevez earlier. Had we not sold, or if Tevez signed a new contract and stayed with United, I don't think we would have signed Berbatov.
Yeah,
possibly. Okay, my number 8 is I'm just going to say pure class, and I can't believe when I've been recording for 26 minutes or so, and this is the first Liverpool player to come in, but Xabi Alonso, one of the there's a lot of the players that I've got in my top 10 that are like this, the ones that you can watch them in slow motion and just find what they do is absolutely beautiful. And also that goal from the halfway line, I think against Newcastle. I'm not sure was it against Newcastle?
It was.
And the fact that what I love about watching that, especially when they show like behind Alonso, is Stevie G losing his shit because he wants to pass the ball to me, and then he sees what happens, and he sort of first of all in anger, and then turns around in like wonderment that Alonso has scored, and the referee nearly got in the way as well, and the goalie falling into the net. Oh, it's just it's a thing of beauty. That would get you on the top 10 just for that. So yeah, my number 8 is Xabi Alonso. Where's the calls of everyone saying, yeah, he's in my top 10, he's in my top 10?
I can't say that, but what I will say is that we'd done a Christmas quiz, and I had a signed Xabi Alonso Spain shirt.
Really?
And we gave the winner the Xabi Alonso shirt.
Nice. Oh, can I ask how you got hold of that? Does he know you have it?
Yeah, well, maybe not. No, maybe not. So I've done a charity auction a few years ago, and I kept hold of a few of the shirts for purposes like that. Doing another quiz, so that's why I've got a Popper shirt behind me. Giving away a Sergio Aguero shirt for our next quiz whenever we do that, probably Easter time. So stay tuned.
Well, that's Sergio Aguero. Yeah, you let me have that one, Ollie. You let me.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know why I've still got it. Yeah.
No. I suppose you're not washing your car with it or something.
It's gone up in value now.
Well, yeah. Right, Ollie, you're number 7.
Number 7, Roy Keane. What else can I say? He's
silence from everybody else.
Yeah, come on.
Too scared to say anything.
Yeah, it's true. I think since or before him, there's not been a player with his temperament, his attitude, and maybe his ability to lift others around him. The class of '92 would not be remembered as fondly as they are now. In fact, I'm pretty certain that documentary never would have got made if it wasn't for Roy Keane and the impact he had on those slightly younger players. And it's just his attitude. It's a shame it didn't work out for him at the 2002 World Cup. I think that's the only thing missing from his CV, really, is kind of international glory. Or if he was a bit younger, he might have joined the Jack Charlton side of the early 90s. But yeah, there's still not a player like him. I don't think so. So certainly, you've got players like Joey Barton with an attitude, but he was nowhere near as successful.
I will admit, I hated Roy Keane as a player. I thought he was everything that was wrong with the club. Just always wanting a fight. Yeah, he looked like he was. That's what he was doing, was spoiling for a fight. As a pundit, I think he's the best pundit out there
Oh yeah.
because he's honest. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't say things because he knows that he got some mates out there or whatever. He just says it like it is, and I love the fact that you've got somebody out there, and I think he's brilliant as a pundit. And that's all I'm going to say about Roy Keane. Anybody else have anything to say about Roy Keane? No. Okay, let's move on. Harry, you're number 7.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I've also gone for a Manchester United player. I've gone for Park Ji-sung.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the most underrated players there is, just because, like, I don't know, Ollie's not enjoying this at all.
I'm just sitting by surprise. I did not
scratching his head in wonderment. Yeah,
didn't expect the next 3 words out of your mouth to be Park Ji-sung.
I think when I was thinking like impact of foreign players, and okay, you know, he's one of the first big Asian players to sort of make it in the Premier League. But just the way he would like turn games around as well. He's another player who could just sort of turn games around. He's a player that you could depend on in big games, because United were very good at rotating him in the right way as well, where he'd come on for the right game in the right time and just somehow work, be an engine that just would work and change it when they needed to. And I think because he wasn't sort of first name on the sheet all the time, he gets forgotten a little bit. But I honestly think he's one of the like most underrated players that's ever graced the Premier League, really.
Sort of player that United's crying out for now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, I honestly haven't thought about that name until you just said it for like 20 years. So I mean, that's one. I mean, was it Ollie? How was he regarded by the United fans?
Oh, I think Man United fans absolutely love him. I think, particularly in the Champions League, 2007, 2008, he would always come on and make the difference, as Harry was saying as well. He still goes to Man United games every now and then. When he retired, he actually went to university in Leicester to study. I think he wanted to become a lawyer or something. But yeah, he's an absolute workhorse. He was technically very good on the ball. We signed him from PSV Eindhoven. Even in PSV, he's a cult hero there. And he was part of that 2002 South Korean side that made it to the semi-finals, controversially. Right. Yeah. So yeah, he's a legend all round. But as a player and as a United fan, nothing but fond. I don't think anyone would say a bad word about him.
Okay, right then, Neil, you're number 7.
Is Mr. Ginola.
That's my number 5.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll go back to the time being a Tottenham supporter, and it was announced that we were signing him. It was really exciting times. We were suddenly starting to get these sort of big names again coming through. I think he was just a class act to watch. He was creative. He was still good when he went to Newcastle, wasn't he? And created stuff. But yeah, just a great footballer, just a great midfielder all round, and he certainly helped our team out a few times. So kudos to Mr. Ginola. And he's good looking. Fuck him, mate. He's so good.
Calm down, Neil.
It is, isn't it? He's a good looking sausage, isn't he?
Oh my god! I think I preferred him more when he was in that amazing Newcastle team. That was when I the 4-3 that I remember with the Collymore goal at the end.
Yeah.
He sort of ran the show once Newcastle were sort of on top. Well, him and Espria was the other guy. But yeah, that was the team that I sort of, I'm going to say, fell in love with Ginola, because I'm getting as bad as you, Neil.
Yeah, you can't help it.
The little sausage that he sausage.
The little sausage that he is.
Yeah, but that's a good one, Neil. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Right, my number 7. I had to do it, and this is killing every atom of my body. Ruud van Nistelrooy. I can remember that time when you'd look and see that, oh yeah, United have won again. And I'm not even going to look and see who the scorers are, because I know that Van Nistelrooy is going to be in there. And you'd watch his goals, and they always, not always, but majority would be like from 6 yards out, just like a tap in. But I can remember it just like Ian Rush, in the right place at the right time, but like a machine, just constantly in the right place at the right time, constantly putting the ball in the back of the net. And I don't think, even talking as a Liverpool fan, I don't think he seemed to get the recognition that he deserved as a goal scorer. Am I right in that, Ollie, or am I
I think you're semi right. So he's my number 2.
And he's not
Right,
number
okay.
4.
Okay.
Go
My
on, mate.
number 5.
Oh, there you go.
We've
right,
all
so
got
maybe he
him.
had
Right,
exactly
so-
the right amount of recognition. Then he's done everything.
Yeah,
He just seemed to be a goal scoring machine, didn't he? For ages.
I think what Pav said is correct. Like a machine, he was very robotic and automated in that way. What people forget is that he signed from PSV 1 year late, so we actually signed him. There was a year delay because of his leg break. So not only did he come with a massive reputation, he came injured, and in his first season scored 36 goals. But yeah, he was a bit like Inzaghi for AC Milan. He just was a goal poacher. Never score outside the box. Really good in the air as well. And yeah, he left a bit on bad terms when he went to Real Madrid. I think this is only my theory. I don't know what other United fans would say about this. But the emergence of Wayne Rooney doing what he'd done at 16 kind of destroyed Mr. Roy's Manchester United career. No one could predict it at 16, Rooney scoring hat-tricks in the Champions League and just being an absolute boss he turned out to be. And I think that kind of sent Van Nistelrooy packing slightly earlier than anticipated.
Yeah, because I think he was the rate that he was going, he could have been United's top goal scorer, couldn't he? With the rate that he was scoring goals. Damn you, Rooney. Okay, then. Ollie, you're number 6.
Number 6, I absolutely hate this man with all my heart. But I have to concede what he's done for African football. Chelsea and the Premier League is probably quite unfathomable. It is the one, the only. It's Didier Drogba. Anybody else got him?
I have. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I've got him at number 3.
Okay. Yeah, no, I haven't got him.
No, just a classic target man. So our main rivals in the mid-noughties were Chelsea. They won the double 05 and 06, and it was always that man Drogba who was right time, right place. He was big, strong, powerful. He can score from outside the box, free kicks, penalties. Had a bit of an injection of pace on him, and again, I think he made that Chelsea team better up top as well. With Damien Duff and Joe Cole, and in the early days, signing Robin as well. Scored nearly 300 career goals, which is, I know, is pretty good. And he's won 5 league titles as well. I don't like him at all, and I can't watch the games back on like Premiership years or any sort of season reviews or anything. But you have to admire what he's done internationally as well.
And he was a bloody nice bloke. I met him. I met him outside the Palace Theatre. He was recording a TV advert, and I happened to be there. And he was so giving, if you know what I mean, to the people that were around and to the fans. And he even gave the young lad the football that he was using for the advert that was stood watching. It was really nice, and he spoke to everybody that queued or waited for an autograph. So he was very good to the fans.
It's very good. Even he stopped a civil war in the Ivory Coast as well.
Well, he should be number 1 with that kind of.
That's genuinely true. I think him and the Ivory Coast team got on TV and had a plea for people to stop fighting, so they could play in AFCON or something. It was along those lines, but he did stop a civil war.
Neil, did you call him a little sausage when you saw him?
No, he's not a little sausage. It actually was smaller than I was thinking he would be, as in shorter.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, how else would you mean?
Not his not his sausage.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Harry, then you're number 6, please.
All right. So my number 6 is Dennis Bergkamp.
Okay.
Again, literally, I've started to realise a little bit of a theme in players I've said recently. Again, this is one of those players that you just love to watch. Could change games around, and I just remember that sort of, as I was really getting into football, he was one of those players that just really caught my eye, and then that Arsenal team is just unbelievable as well. But I think people forget that Thierry wouldn't be as good as wouldn't have had the record he had without someone like Bergkamp putting strings and putting those sort of balls in. And so I've put him there. It feels a little bit low, but I mean, there's just so many good players that you have to sort them out some way, don't you?
Well, this is it. Somewhere. I mean, I haven't got him in my top 10, but I do feel he's one of those guys that definitely gets forgotten because of Henry and maybe Ian Wright, people like that, people that he's played with. I think you tend to get. I almost pulled the clip with when he scored in the World Cup and the commentary of the Bergkamp, and that way, it was exactly like that. It sounded exactly like that.
Just like that.
Just like that, yeah. Neil, then your number 6, please.
Well, speaking of Arsenal people, I thought I better put one in, and it is Henry, Thierry Henry, goal scoring
he's my
machine.
number 3.
Another goal-scoring legend, and again another player that once he arrived and started doing his business, we all thought, "Shit, why haven't we got somebody like that, or why haven't we got him?" And it's with a heavy heart that I had to put him in here because being Arsenal. But no, he was a great player, and mesmerising to watch. He really was.
Yeah, he's my number 1.
Oh right.
Oh,
okay. Spoilers. I'll put it up there. I'll write it down so I know that it's anyway. Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he's just a class player. He's just a
there's
class
not
player.
a lot else you can say, is it? He really was a class player.
No.
Just
He's
played for
someone
the
that I
wrong
feel
team.
is also sort of very lucky as well. It seems that whatever manager's job he goes to in the last 6 months, Sky will always bring him back, and at least he'll get an advert out of it. That's the one thing he'll do. It doesn't matter what he does. A bit like Gary Neville go off and do a bloody shit job at Sociedad. Was it Sociedad? He was manager.
Valencia.
And then they welcome him with open arms. Again, I think he's a good pundit. I do. I hate the bloke. Absolutely hate him with a passion. But I think he's a great pundit, especially when him and Jamie Carragher are together. I think they work well together. How did he get on to Gary Neville? How the fuck did that happen? Anyone else got anything to say? We'll leave your thoughts at the end, Ollie, about
no worries.
About Henry. Anybody else got anything to say? Harry, do you want to say something about Henry?
Not quite yet.
Okay, right then. See, look, Harry's playing the game, right? He knows what's Okay, so my number 6 is somebody that was coming to the end of their career as the Premier League was starting. It's Ruud Gullit. Went from being a striker to somebody sitting in front of the back four and absolutely couldn't. Every time I watched him play, it looked like he had like 10 yards of space around him all the time. He seemed to have just time to pass the ball how he wanted to. And that comes from somebody that knows how to play the game, somebody that has got that skill to go from being a goal scorer, I suppose a number 10 he was originally, I think, wasn't he? I think rather than a striker, to then play that number 6-ish role, if you like. It was just fantastic to watch. And somebody that I just loved watching from being a number 10 to that role. But I think in the Premier League, and then obviously he went on to manage Chelsea, and he did Newcastle. And Newcastle when everything sort of went bad with Shearer and stuff. Class act for me for number 6. Player. Yeah,
wonderful player. He was the player manager at Chelsea, and he was the first player manager to bring them a cup. So they won the FA Cup in '97,
right?
And that was their first trophy for like nearly 25 years. So he's well liked at Chelsea.
And that was that pre Abramovich.
Yeah, that was Ken Bates.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, then, Ollie, your number 5, please.
Number 5. I've got a lot of Chelsea players, and it's really bad. Don't play this to Man United fans. I've gone for Nicolas Anelka for the sort of similar reasons I've gone for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. He's played for a host of different teams, from your Real Madrids, your Fenerbahce's, your Paris Saint-Germain's, but in the Premier League he played for Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City before the money, Bolton in that cult team we've mentioned before, Chelsea, and later West Brom as well. I think he's kind of underappreciated as a great technical finisher, and his reading and intelligence of the game was overlooked. There's often an argument that Messi was only good because the players around him in that fantastic Barcelona side. You put Anelka into any of those teams, including Bolton, who were rubbish at the time, Man City, who just got promoted, he was getting goals and goals and goals and goals and goals. And I don't think he got the recognition he deserved for that. He was top goal scorer in 09-10 season as well with Chelsea, got to Champions League finals, and played for Real Madrid as well. But he just... never got recognition like he deserved, I think.
Anelka for me was a player that I feel like I always wanted to love, and it'd do something that would make you hate him. Like
Mm.
it always you do something that would turn public opinion against him, and I think it just seemed to happen. He had so many chances of like, you look say in 08-09, he's like top goal scorer. It's like later on in his career, people actually know he is really good, and then he goes and holds a racist. No, what was he did some sort of fascist sign or
He
something?
did
He's done
something,
a
some sort of
celebration.
like bird thing or something, didn't
and
he?
he's
Which
like,
ended up
you
being
can't help yourself, can you?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get so many rebirths, and you burn the bridge every time. I don't know, but yeah, he should be remembered as a better player, I suppose.
Yeah, he seemed to finish on his whole thing on a controversial sort of mood, a feeling. It almost feels like you shouldn't talk about Anelka because I'm not trying to equate him with like Bill Cosby or people like that. But when you say a name and you think, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't like him so much, like you say, Harry, for the specific things that he's done. But hell of a player.
Absolutely.
I don't know who really got the best out of him though. Do you think Arsenal got the best out of him?
No, not at all. I'd say Bolton done very well out of him because I think they finished like 6th and got into Europe because of him. And then he moved to Chelsea. And Chelsea, as I said, got to a Champions League final with him under Avram Grant by some miracle. So,
Uncle Avram.
Uncle Avram. I don't know who got the best out of him. I suppose you just filled the gaps.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so Harry, you said Van Nistelrooy at number 5. So Neil, what's your number 5?
Well, we've heard the soundbite loads. It's Aguero. I was just
this one?
But whether you love or hate the teams and etc., like you can't but admire his goal scoring ability and his ability to find the net, change games completely if he came off the bench. And again, as I look at these players, who wouldn't have wanted him in their squad? But yeah, and we all remember that soundbite there.
What, this one?
Yeah. I think everybody Ollie. But Man United fans leapt out of their seats watching that, didn't they? And I'm sorry, Ollie, but it really was a bit of history, wasn't it? We leapt out of our seats, and it was quite funny. But yeah, a great goal scorer all round, and what he achieved at City and the amount of goals he did is going to stay there for a very long time, isn't it, for him? So a great player.
So Ollie, let's just take you back to that moment as a United fan. So were you watching it on TV?
Yeah, I think I was watching like a multi-TV system going on, watching different games.
Okay, so obviously the United game finished. How, percentage-wise, how much did you think the job was done?
You know what? I just had a few. When you're playing a QPR team with Joey Barton in there, anything could happen.
Yeah.
I've tried to delete it from my memory many a time.
Right.
But I do remember not watching football for a long time afterwards. In the same way as we won the treble in '99, I thought that was as good as it can get. Like, you might as well give up and now choose a different sport. 2000 was a bleak year. But the same as that, I think I didn't really start paying much interest in football again for a couple of years.
I felt exactly the same 1989 when Arsenal beat us 2-0 with Michael Thomas in the last minute.
Was that the game you went to, Per?
That was a game I went to. I was stood on the cop that night, yeah. I've never seen so many grown men cry.
I remember
one
you
place.
saying.
Yes, yeah. That's my sort of one of my claims to fame, yeah. Oh my God. Anyway, let's just have a drink, Ollie, and let's just drown our sorrows. Anyway, so my number 5 was Ginola. So, Ollie, it's back to you for your number 4, please.
Okay, we're going for an absolute bulldozer of a man who had strength, elegance, and flair, which is rare for someone who was 6'4". It's Patrick Vieira,
right?
Captain of the Invincibles, over 100 caps, won the World Cup, won the Euros, 7 league titles, Champions League, French Player of the Year twice. Just done it all. And as I said, one thing I do look for a player is a bit of flair, a bit of something different to everyone else. And he certainly had that charging forward, which is quite rare to see for a man of his size.
But again, as a United player, a United fan, didn't you hate him?
Oh, with a passion. It's the same as Drogba, really. I absolutely despise him in the noughties. But again, when you watch these clips back, and you think, bloody hell, he was good. And you don't see players like that anymore. Once again, you know, Dele Alli plays a similar position to what Vieira could play, and he just doesn't do anything. He just looks lazy. You know what I mean? So I just yearn for that kind of player to return.
Yeah, I've got Vieira at 4 as well.
You've got Vieira at 4 as well.
Yeah, again, very very similar reasons. Like it's just a player you wish you don't see anymore, and you wish you could. And I just remember, and I think we spoke about it a few times, haven't we? About my memory, and it's probably not this, but my memory is as soon as he had left Arsenal, that's when all their problems started.
Yeah,
it's literally without him being the glue for that team, everything sort of started to fade away. And I think if you can have that big of an impact, and people still think that 20 years, well, close to like later, like that shows just your quality, doesn't it?
Yeah, no,
absolutely. If he stayed another year, he would have played in the Champions League final, and they might have won that. But then, Vieira left, they lose to Champions League final. Thierry Henry goes, not been the same since.
Yeah, he was in my probably in my top 15, but he just didn't make my top 10, and obviously not in your top 10, Neil, because he's an Arsenal player.
No, exactly. Excuse me, exactly.
Okay, that's fine. So Neil, you said Van Nistelrooy at number 4. My number 4 is somebody that has turned Liverpool around since he came to the club, and that's Alisson Becker. Liverpool have had a very good tradition of having great goalkeepers. They've had some really bad ones as well. But from Clements, Grobbelaar started off pretty bad, but ended up becoming a legend. Dudek, of course, 2005. But I don't think there's anybody that has... Whenever I see Liverpool and there's a one-on-one, I never worry these days, because he seems to do things... He'll put some part of his body in the way. And that somebody that is so consistent and scores goals as well. I mean, if you can get a goal-scoring goalkeeper... I mean, that was one of my moments of the last couple of years under Klopp, is him coming up for the West Brom game and scoring that goal in the last minute. It was fantastic. But he can sometimes have a little bit of a wobble, which as a out-playing goalkeeper will happen. But I think he's fantastic. I think he's one of my favourite Liverpool players of the moment, without a shadow of a doubt. So that is my number 4. And no one else has got him, obviously. So I'll take that. Say that. So Ollie, your number 3, please.
Okay, controversial one, and many people would think I'll put this person number 1. But the only reason I haven't is because I think he was more successful out of the Premier League. But no doubt he did change the face of what the Premier League was. It's Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh right, okay. I'll scribble out the one I thought you was going to say.
What did you think?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay,
I'll tell you in a minute. Okay.
I cannot describe him. He just is an enigma. He is a god. He is not a human being. I don't think he's as gifted in the whole Messi Ronaldo debate. I don't think he's as naturally gifted with the touch of a ball as Messi, but his work rate to be the best is just unlike. He's like Terminator or something. You can't stop it. And the way he changed from a winger to a striker, predominantly his final season with Manchester United as well, and then went on to do so many amazing things with Madrid and Juve. But in the Premier League, I don't think you've seen, again, a bit like Roy Keane, you've just not seen a player like him since or before.
So he's my number 2.
Okay.
And yeah, very similar reasons. But I suppose on the flip side, was he was a player for a long time I hated because how good he was, and for some of the stuff he'd done in the Portugal shirt, shall we say. But
you mean the wink?
Yeah. What I was going to say was it's probably a bizarre thing to bring up, but one of my favourite memories of Ronaldo would be United at Fratton Park and Ronaldo headbutting Richard Hughes, who is this Glaswegian like hard man centre midfielder for Portsmouth at the time. And the next day in the paper, he was like, "That wasn't a Glaswegian kiss; it was a Portuguese peck."
Nice.
Never forgotten that. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. I always felt that like Ronaldo worked at being legendary, whereas for Messi, it came more naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a great Sir Alex Ferguson quote that sums it up. Is that I kind of mentioned it earlier. Messi needed those players around him, but you could put Cristiano in Preston North End's B team, and he'd still want to score hat trick.
Yeah,
and he still could.
Yeah. You can't fault him for. It's weird because like again, I was the same as you, Harry. I hated him when he was at United, but as soon as he went to like Real Madrid, I was always looking to see if he scored. And then it'd be this contest of who would score more goals, Ronaldo or Messi, and they both would score 50 goals in a season. It was ridiculous, ridiculous like figures and stuff. And even at Juventus, I'd look to see if he scored, and then obviously came back to United, so I got to hate him again now. Neil, thoughts on Ronaldo?
I'll let you know.
Oh, right, okay. So that's your number 3, Ollie. Drogba was your number 3, Harry. Modric was your number 3, Neil. My number 3 was Thierry Henry. Ollie's number 2 was Van Nistelrooy. Harry's number 2 was Ronaldo. So, Neil, what's your number 2?
So my number 2 is Klinsmann for Tottenham. We went through the period of having Lineker and Gaza and having the highs of the early 90s that we had. And then we sort of dropped into the mid-table oblivion again. And we signed Klinsmann. And it was that you sort of had a hope again that we'd done the right thing and signed the right player. And he played well. He just didn't stay long enough with us, I don't think, which was sad. But he was just a legend. I know that phrase is knocked around a lot, but he really was a legend. He became legendary for us in the few seasons that he was there. And he was just a joy to watch when he was there. And like I said, it's all about the hope that it gave back to us. I mean, I keep getting it every now and then for the last 30 years. But yeah, that's why he's up there for me, up the top. He was just a great player.
He came with so much baggage at the time, though, didn't he? Because
he
was always known as a diver. And everyone thought, and then when he scored on his debut and he did that classic dive, that's when I fell in love with him. I thought that is fantastic. That is such a great way for you to stand up to all the people that had been saying, yeah, you're just diving German. Don't come to the Premier League. And then he scored. And I think, didn't he get his second game? He got clattered, didn't he?
Was it the second or third?
Second or third, and he got his nose splattered across his face.
Splattered across.
Yeah, great.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. But it was just that hope that he sort of brought to the club again, which we've all experienced. But yeah, it was a nice time.
Is he the best Tottenham manager they never had?
Who knows? Who knows?
I've always thought that he would end up there as manager of Tottenham.
We all did. Yeah, it was one of those ones that just never came, did it?
No.
Is he managing still now? I don't know.
I think he might be managing some random team in Southeast Asia or something. He's done like pretty much managed every country there is, I think.
Okay, well, so my number 2 is someone that got famous before the Premier League, but then this is the thing, I thought you were going to say this name, Ollie, is Eric Cantona. Just because I think he was the foundation for how United took over the Premier League for 20 odd years. 25 years, what was it, 25 years. We'll always hate him for the cup final, for how he scored that goal and how we just let the ball just dribble between everybody. It's obviously all worried about their white suits, weren't they? But you can't, and the thing is like, as he's left football and become a celebrity and an actor, I really like him. I think he's fantastic. When he does adverts, when you see him talking, I think he's a great person that just doesn't seem to take things seriously, where he obviously took football seriously when he played. And again, with all my fibers in my being, he was a great player. He would win a game on his own. and he would stand in the middle of that pitch and accept the plaudits and accept the, like a king, like, King Eric, like, So yeah, he's my another. That's I wrote down Cantona when you said.
Yeah, it was close. He was probably number 11, if I'm being honest. He was just a bit too before my time to appreciate him.
Yeah.
Although it's him and Roy Keane who changed the foundations of that club, bringing up the class of '92, winning that league title in '94, the final against Liverpool as well, and that made Manchester United from a team that got to finals to a team that won finals. And then that carried on for the rest of Fergie's career.
Yeah, absolutely. Right then, before we reveal our number ones, Ollie, do you want to run down your 10 to 2? Then we'll hear from Harry, then Neil, then me, and then we'll reveal our number ones.
No worries. So number 10, I get my paper, is Nemanja Vidic. Number 9 was Petr Cech. Number 8. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. Number 7 was Roy Keane. Number 6, Didier Drogba. Number 5, Nicolas Anelka. Number 4 was Patrick Vieira. Number 3, Cristiano Ronaldo. And number 2, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Thank you. Harry, your rundown.
Yep, so I started off with a high note of the Bulgarian brute himself, Todorov. Moved on to number 9 with JJ Okocha, 8, Luka Modric, 7, Park Ji-sung, 6, Dennis Bergkamp, 5, Van Nistelrooy, 4, Vieira, 3, Drogba, 2 is Ronaldo.
Okay, Neil, you're 10 to 2?
So number 10 is Di Canio, number 9 is Carlos Tevez, number 8 is Berbatov, number 7 is Ginola, number 6 is Henry, number 5 is Aguero, number 4 is Van Nistelrooy, number 3 is Modric, number 2 is Klinsmann.
Nice. And mine is number 10, Juninho, 9, Gianfranco Zola, 8, Xabi Alonso, 7, Ruud van Nistelrooy, 6, Ruud Gullit, 5, David Ginola, 4, Alisson Becker, 3, Thierry Henry, and 2, Eric Cantona. So, Oliver, would you like to tell us who your number 1 is, please?
It is against my better instincts to say, but you just have to admire the man. It is Thierry Henry.
Okay. Is that yours as well, Harry?
It is indeed.
Okay. Is it yours as well, Neil?
No.
Oh, no, you had him already at number 6.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So, why?
I think he changed the face of Sky Sports marketing in terms of his skill, pace, audacity, flair, sex appeal. Just
Vavavoom.
Vavavoom, exactly. It is just Vavavoom. Again, his vision, his passing, his flair, he could do anything with the football. He made it glamorous. He made the Premier League glamorous. I'm pretty sure he done that single-handedly. So after the emergence of the Premier League in the 90s, in the noughties, it became a mass marketing tool. That's when it became the best league in the world, in my opinion. And I think he's the reason for that. You look at strikers nowadays, in the last couple of seasons, they don't get much more than 20 goals. Henry was scoring 30 consistently. In an Arsenal team, as we mentioned, even when Vieira left, he was still doing that. He dragged that Arsenal team to a Champions League final in 2006. And it's the showboating as well, just the arrogant showboating. He did no-look passes before they became a thing on FIFA. And, he just created this brand of football. And you have to tip your hat off to that.
Harry?
Yeah, as you say, he's an innovator, wasn't he? He's like changed the way football was presented and all sorts. But for me, the big memory for me was that Portsmouth were playing Arsenal in the FA Cup at Fratton Park, and we were losing 5-1. Henry had scored a bunch of these goals. Pompey fans are just singing "Va-va-voom, va-va-voom." What else could we do? And then at the end of it, he walks off the pitch and he comes back on the pitch in a Pompey top and just claps the fans. And
nice.
That's class. That's just wonderful thing. And I think afterwards he said they've been losing 5-0 or 5-1 or whatever, and he's like, yeah, they were still singing. He's like, what else could I do?
Yeah.
And yeah, so to me that makes him my ultimate hero in a sense. Yeah.
Pure class. Look, pure class. Go on then, Neil. You're number 1.
Well, Ollie summed it up perfectly. Is pretty much what I was going to say. It's Ronaldo is my number one. To me, he changed football, like you said before, to the modern game that it is now. He is a worker like no other. You could put him in any other team, and he'd work as hard as he was. I mean, I'm just going to be repeating what Ollie said. I think he is pure genius. Again, I'm with the other crowd. I think I prefer Messi as the overall footballer, but Ronaldo, you've got to admire the way that chap works, and his ethic is probably above anybody else in the Premier League right now as well. So I give him hats off to what he's achieved.
And he's still doing it. That's the
You don't
thing.
need to cry, Pav. It wasn't emotional.
I had an itchy eye, Neil.
Yeah, and he's still doing it and still showing his worth. Because what is he, 37 now, isn't he?
Nearly 37, I think.
Yeah. So, and the physique and the pace and that he still possesses at that age, I think, is unbelievable. So
the shape he's in now, you wouldn't be surprised for him to still be playing at 40 and still be playing at a very high level.
Yeah.
You haven't seen players that usually, players can play on to 37, 38, but you don't see him playing at that high level.
No.
I don't doubt it with him at all.
Yeah. I mean, Ibrahimovic is doing it.
Wow.
And he's nearly 40, isn't he?
He is 40.
He's 40.
Yeah.
He's quite a similar player, but he works very hard to be who he is.
He's just a beast. I mean, Ibrahimovic is just a beast. The beast of a man. He really is. Okay, my number one. No surprises that it's a Liverpool player, but it's somebody that has changed Liverpool from the moment that he stepped into the training room or the changing rooms. Is Virgil van Dijk. He's he joined. I think it was a January transfer, and we got to the Champions League against Real Madrid. It's that season. Karius. I don't know what he was doing. But since he joined, he was the person that changed the whole team, and it showed when Ollie's favourite Pickford completely took him out of the game a couple of seasons ago, and how much we missed him then. It took two centre backs to sort of fill the hole that he took, but everything runs through him. The fullbacks can bomb on because he's at the back and he is super cool. And it's no surprise that we've won a Champions League. We've won a league. We were 1 point away from City from winning the league. Before we won the league, there's nothing more to say. I mean, I think he's a legend already as far as Liverpool are concerned. And I don't think you'll be able to buy another player like that. I don't think there are many players like him around. So long may he stay fit, is all I'll say about that. Right, we have a couple of honourable mentions. So at this one, Samantha said, that's easy. Cantona. Kim Peniston said David Ginola is number one for me. Probably because of the little sausage. Probably. At Steve Plunk said Henry, the obvious answer, but Okocha entertained us. And at Nick Boyd Guitar said, I remember being a teenager in the 90s and me and all my mates being obsessed with the news Fabrizio Ravanelli was heading to Middlesbrough. We weren't Middlesbrough fans, by the way. I'm a villain. We were just excited that he was on Match of the Day. Hat trick on the debut too. Boom. And that was against Liverpool. I remember that first game of the season. He scored a hat trick. So there you go. That's our top 10 Premier League foreign imports. So guys, regarding your podcast, what was the reason for you to start? And what was it? A zeros? Do you call it a zeros?
Noughties, yeah.
Noughties, that's it.
Basically, we're a big fan of like Premiership years and like season review, these kind of late night Sky Sports programs that take you back 10, 20 years and you kind of go, I remember that game from 1992, whatever. But our kind of prime time for football fandom wasn't in noughties. So we wanted to kind of do an audio version of that. Rip off Josh Widdicombe's podcast completely, including the logo, and kind of reminisce about these cult players that we just, as we've discussed over your podcast today, you just don't see players like Okocha anymore, or Henry for that matter, or Roy Keane. And it's slowly going into this tactical, you can almost predict what's going to happen. So we yearn for that period when Facebook was just a thought in someone's brain. So it is. Harry's, and again for Harry, I assume Portsmouth were doing quite well then.
Yeah, so when Ollie asked me if I wanted to be a part of this, I was like, oh, an excuse to talk about Portsmouth being good. I'll take it. Earlier on, I had a little moment where Ollie was, being upset about losing the league title the last day. I mean, you start talking about being in the crowd when you lost. And I was like, you guys are really getting upset about losing league titles. I almost lost my club.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, no, that is true. Did you mean this moment? Is that the moment you were talking about? Oh, that's the last time, Ollie. I promise that's the last time. Because if you were doing the podcast and all of a sudden it was Thomas is through, he could win it here, I would be on the floor.
Is it Gerard Smith, I think?
Yeah. Oh my God! Don't even start about that one. Oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. So we will put a link to the podcast in the show notes. So if you want to have a listen to it, then please click. So who would be your dream guest if you could get them?
Dream guest for me, I think would be, again, if language barrier wasn't the thing, I think it would be Ronaldinho.
Right. Okay.
Great shout.
Okay, Harry, would that be yours?
I've got a very much love-hate relationship with him, but I think it'd be amazing to have Harry Redknapp on to talk about that period.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm assuming it must be quite bittersweet for him because he took them to the top, didn't he? And if you look at where the club are now,
the thing was obviously because he left the first time, crying in the press conference saying, "I'm not going to go up the road." Next week he's there in the Southampton shirt, so that was hard. And then he came back and took a while. People forgave him. We won the FA Cup, and then he stupidly said, "Oh, I'm going to retire here. This is it for me." And then a few weeks later, it's gone again. I think if he just never said that and then left for Tottenham, people would be like, "Yeah, we understand. We're in the shit. Go." But it's the fact he had to say, "I'm not going to leave. I'm going to retire here." And that's what ruined it, I think. And then he had to come back to get he was being given the key of the freedom of the city sort of thing. And obviously people just weren't having it. But it's just he should have just went gracefully and you didn't have to promise things. But
doesn't he still live down there?
I think he lives in Bournemouth.
Oh, Bournemouth, right.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you, Harry. Hey, I meant Harry Redknapp. I mean, bless you too, Harry. But,
bless him. He's multi-millionaire in his mansion.
King of the jungle and everything, isn't he? I mean,
Sandra. He's got
where is Portsmouth now then? What is the situation
Still down
in Portsmouth?
south.
No, you know what I mean, Neil, you smart ass.
We are currently mid-table in League One, having a year of what's meant to be rebuilding, but at the moment this transfer window has been sell a bunch of players and bring in a bunch of loan players.
Right.
We'll see. Yeah, it doesn't look. Thing is, we've got a billionaire owner. He used to be the CEO of Disney. But what's happening is it's very much we're not going to do the crazy stuff again. So brick by brick as we approach, we're doing the stadium again, and we're taking things slow. And hopefully, in a few years, we'll be a championship side, and we're sort of that's the aim, is to sort of be a decent championship side. I don't know if we can deal with ever going back to the Premier League again and the risk of ruining it all. And
who's the manager these days?
Danny Cowley and his brother Nicky Cowley. They were
right. Who were they manager of? They were
Hull City for managing Lincoln and taking them on a crazy FA Cup run, and then they went to Huddersfield.
That's right.
I mean,
because they were like touted as like the next big thing, weren't they? As the two brothers, and then it sort of fell apart.
I think we got rid of Kenny Jackett because of the way he played football and the way he was sort of consistent. And we brought in these guys who played similar football, but seemed to be consistent for like 5 games at a time. And then you lose the 5 games in a row. And it just feels like it was a little bit of a step backwards in a way. But then, you never know. Maybe once they finally get in their own players, it will change.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that things are on the up.
Yeah, good luck
for the
to you.
Pompey. I mean, I know exactly how you feel. I mean, we lost the league by 1 point. I mean, I was absolutely gutted then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know it's crazy. It is, but that's football, isn't it? Like it's all relevant.
It is, and it's but I used to love watching Portsmouth. I used to, especially with like Harry. It used to be so much fun watching them on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, and the Portsmouth versus Bolton. They've been mad games with like players that you think they shouldn't be in this league. What are they doing in this league? It's crazy. And now it just feels like it's I don't know. I don't know whether it's an old man talking, but it just feels a little bit more different.
What's crazy to me is you look at League One now, and you have Portsmouth, Sunderland, Bolton,
Ipswich.
You have these teams that have all been Premier League teams.
Yeah.
All just struggling in like League One, and I think it's crazy, but I suppose that's one of the side effects of a Premier League in a strange way, isn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah, and it means it's harder to get out. It's harder to move up that ladder, but I'm sure it'll happen. Let's finish on a positive note. Sure it'll happen. Neil, do you want to tell everybody how they can get in touch and all of that?
Okay, of course you can. So you can find us on all the social media at Top 10 Pods. Come and give us a click and a like and a follow, whatever it may be. Email us at toptenpods@hotmail.com. You can tell us what you think a top 10 should be, or have any questions on previous episodes. Come and help support the podcast at patreon.com/Top 10 Pods. You can get rewards such as our episodes super early, bonus episodes and scenes, behind the scenes, and even a chance to be a guest on the episode. Or check out all of our links via the link tree. You can find the link in the show notes. And please come and subscribe and leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, or subscribe and follow us on any other podcast platform.
Wonderful. And also remember, we've got the new video playlists that go together with the episodes if you're a Patreon subscriber. So that's another little extra for you. That's it. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us. That was a lot of fun.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, thanks for having us. And good work on all accounts. And thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ollie and Harry. Yes, thank you very much.
Not all Man United fans are horrible. Some of them are really nice.
He's from Devon.
Aguero, yeah.
And now I'm going to go off and have a shower because I feel all dirty and horrible that I've been having Man United players in my league. But let's all learn to live together and love together, and little sausages and all, So thank you very much, Ollie.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Harry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you, Pav. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, everyone. And let's go start the countdown.
10,